this is not enjoyable behavior. And it's like, I don't know if you don't want to be here or like what show you think that you're on anymore, but this ain't
Yeah.
it.
Friends, welcome to Overanalyze with Dom and Kyla. We are talking about the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City
The
reunion part 3.
The only good part, in my opinion.
The only good part,
interesting.
Yeah, they had to have the first 2 to kind of ramp up, though. It would have been too rushed if it was only part 3.
True.
But we're also going to do some predictions for season 7 because we've been seeing some stuff online.
We sure have.
All right, so part 3. Mary is begging Meredith to tell the truth. And my note says, and Meredith is infuriating. So
I think that sums it up right there. I mean, she is. She is infuriating. Yeah. And I said this on our previous episode about the reunion. I said it all season. She's deflecting and she's infuriating. And she doesn't answer anything. And she's not accountable for anything.
She doesn't answer anything, but I think this wasn't in response to Meredith and Brittany. I think this was when she was talking about how Meredith plays favors, like how she was mad at Lisa and then got over it, but now she's holding things against like Heather forever. She's holding things with Whitney. Like, it's like she's a dog with a bone. Like, she just will not let it go. And even though she said that Lisa is very dark, she has this dark aura, this dark all of it. I believe that she thinks that Meredith is like the root. She is like...
I think so.
Stirring up the pot. And it's really not fair because Mary even defended Meredith a couple times in the season.
Yeah.
And especially when Meredith felt like Lisa wasn't being a good friend to her. And it's like, Meredith is so selective with when she chooses to be upset or who she chooses to like be nice to. 100%. And it's such an abuse of power in the worst way ever, because I remember when they got to Greece, I think it was the second day, and I was like, Meredith was in a good mood, and everybody was like, oh, I guess we're having a great day then, I guess. And that's so unfair that she can literally dictate how everybody else is interacting based on like, oh, is Meredith coherent today or not? And it kind of felt like that at the reunion.
It is. I saw this, I don't know if it was on Watch What Happens Live or like an interview or something, but somebody basically said, and they didn't use his exact words, I can't remember what it was, but it was like, Mary is kind of like the oracle in terms of, okay, we might be confused of the word salad. It is Meredith Marks. We already know Lisa's word salad queen here, but it's like, okay, if Mary is saying, girl, you need to be more accountable, you have to admit to this, you are not telling the truth on this, she's kind of our guiding light in terms of, okay, Mary's not buying it, so neither am I. At least in this particular instance, when it comes to all things Meredith, whether it's the plane, whether it's her fights with the other women, if there is an accusation of any kind of substance usage or whatever the case might be, I'm listening to Mary and I'm like, okay, let me write this down. Okay, Mary is not having it. Okay, great. And neither am I. Because I feel like that is kind of like our point of reference to anything with Meredith, because she has no motive, right? She has no motive to say anything but the truth. She's not trying to put it on for the cameras. She's that girl. She's unapologetically herself, so she does not need to defend her values or her... So it's like, if she's saying it, I'm paying attention. And quite frankly, too, the way Meredith attempts, and I'm saying attempts purposely, because she does not do it successfully, in my opinion, she doesn't give you anything to back up anything. It's just like, well, that's not true. That's not how this happened. That's not this. It's not that. It's just like, okay, then why are we here? Because it's just like, or why are you here? Because you're not giving us anything. And that is infuriating.
It is, and you just quoted Mary. Remember when they were at Greece? And she's like, why are we here? If we're not friends and we cannot tell her what we think, why are we here? And that scene broke my heart, and I wanted a little bit more of that in the reunion, because that's all came out of the continuation of where's this plane footage, because we think that Meredith has an anger issue, but we don't think she is irrationally angry. We think there is a root. Whether the root is marital dissatisfaction, whether the root is drinking, whether the root is just being tense or not wanting to be here, there's a root, right? And so I think that Mary, calling her the Oracle, I think makes perfect sense. She can read the room really well. She has no incentive to hurt anybody else.
Totally.
And I would even take it a step further. She has a lot of experiences dealing with substance abuse, right, with her son.
Yeah.
But even more than that, I think she's like, Meredith, I have been around you for a number of seasons. You do not act like yourself at certain times. And that I am calling out, right? She does not blame. She's just saying, I've been around you, and sometimes you are not acting like you typically do. Let's deal with it. And Meredith can't even hear that. She just takes it so to the other level where she's just like, she either completely deflects, or she gives us one of the answers that she preps, or she completely changes the subject. And like,
yeah,
I don't know if there's a way for Andy to say, you guys, you know you're coming on the reunion, but you can't be that prepared. Like, they are so prepared. It's really hard to watch because they're not giving us any kind of reaction, which is okay. But they're not even responsive to the questions. And it was so hard to watch because you're just like, did he say anything to you, or were you just literally waiting?
Yeah.
And it felt like you've been saying it falls flat, and that is being generous because it really made them look like they were nuts. I just was like, are you not hearing him?
That's exactly. Well, it doesn't help. It doesn't, at least in my opinion, it doesn't help the narrative that I feel like they're trying to create, right? Because it's like, okay, if you have a game plan, it's like, okay, going into the reunion, we already know Meredith. If she's sitting down, like, planning this out, like, we already know probably 5 bullet points of what they're going to come after me about, right? This was the defense mechanism, or this was the route that you thought was going to help your case, where you just not answer anything, quite honestly. I mean, let's be honest. I guess she did finally admit that she had a drink at the fucking lounge before the flight. And I'm like, if we're talking about Meredith Marks, and I'm sorry, like, listen, I don't know you, girl. Quite frankly, I don't want to. If you add up all these little things, they kind of start to create a picture because you're easily offended, you're easily riled up. Everything from, like, remember that phone call when they just got to Greece and she freaked out just because she couldn't, have a full conversation with her son. While meanwhile, they're all fucking mothers who consciously book these tickets knowing when they're going to be in the country of Greece on Mother's Day. But you have this explosive reaction. So it's everything from that to whatever happened on the plane ride to this whole thing in Greece when she had that whole thing with Bronwyn, but she apparently freaked out, and the next morning she's like, that didn't happen. That didn't, like, there's enough evidence here to say, like, I'm going to believe all these chicks because they all have their own individual experiences with you that sound erratic. And only you and your little buddy there that want to mimic every talking point that you have are the only ones that are trying to save face when we all can see right through it, and Mary can see right through it. We talk about, like, how you move forward and all this kind of stuff. I honestly don't know how you would, because in order to have some sort of resolution or even path forward, there has to be accountability somewhere, and she's not willing to do it or try. I don't get it. I'm not trying to push you to admit to a problem that you don't have. I don't want to say that either, but even for you to say, like, I see how it comes across, I'll say that I would be able to accept if she said, watching the season, I am seeing how this comes across, and maybe I could understand how people can piece together that maybe I am going through something, or maybe I seem a little unwell, or whatever the case might be. But here, let me set the record straight. You couldn't even do something like that. Like, it's the talk about, again, we're going to use your word, infuriating, because she just can't do anything.
No, it's true. And you used the perfect word where you said accountability. She takes responsibility in a very inauthentic way. Okay, you're right. Okay,
yes,
sorry.
Yes, exactly.
So dismissive. It's so flippant. There's actually no accountability where she is letting you know she's going to act differently. To me, Dave, you're sorry. You don't have to ever tell me sorry if you start to act in a better way to show me that you got it.
Right. Yeah.
You know she's not going to do that because she can't even apologize with any sincerity. And the part that I think really hurts is she takes out all of her anger on Heather. And I think that is because she
Yeah.
knows that Heather, you've mentioned it a couple times where like Heather was kind of hesitant to come on the show or nervous. Like, how do I fit in with these women? And like Heather said that herself, like, you know, this great cast of women, wow, you chose me to be here. It's almost like she has a tiny bit of imposter syndrome. And then Meredith is so hyper inflated. She
Totally.
hones in, and this is where Mary is like, no, we were all talking about it. We were all, it's not just her. We were all talking about it. And so it's like Meredith is zoning in on Heather for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And it's almost like she probably can't hold her weight with everybody else because.
Yeah, I can see that. You know, Heather gets an interesting rap, I think, from the things that I see online. I happen to really like Heather Gay a lot. I always have. I haven't loved every decision she's made. I could say that about everyone. I, unlike Lisa Barlow, don't have blind loyalty. I can able to say, like, I'm a big fan of this person, but I also don't like what they did on this episode or this time. I don't like how she said this. That is the beauty of being able to think for yourself. However, she gets such a bad rap from a lot of people, and I don't understand why. I think people think she's a try-hard and all this, and I don't. I've never saw that, and I still don't. But I do find it interesting, and I wonder if there's something there, because it is very odd to me that Meredith does seem to almost single her out in terms of like her aggression with everything from the playing to the, you know, quote-unquote substance abuse, because you do find out. I think they showed a clip when they were all in that Boston Tea Party thing that they did. And I guess she did try to backtrack of like when she called Heather a liar, and she, I guess it was not aired. It was like a behind the scenes footage. I guess she did say like, oh, I take that back or whatever. But it's like, well, I'm sorry, you believe people the first time when they show themselves to you, right? And it's like, well, why did you say that and then apologize? But then you're still, it kind of doesn't matter because you're still going at her. And I don't understand like where, like, does she know something that we don't know? And Heather's still protecting her in some layer or form of fashion? I don't know. But I do think it's really interesting that she's riding hard on her more than all the other girls. I don't get it.
Well, if you remember, somebody says pill popper, and she's like, that's not true, that's not true. And Heather goes, I'm giving you a lot of pills.
Okay, that whole thing.
I was like, oh, tell me more.
Yeah, but we find out it was like sleeping pills or something. And I'm like, wait, this is what I'm talking about. Like, I don't know why people are so hard on Heather. She doesn't really, I'm trying to pick my words wisely. I was going to say she doesn't really fumble. That's not the right word because she definitely has in the past. I don't think she is on some bullshit. I think if she does make a misstep, it's not intentional. So when she is going about the whole pill popper thing, and then you see that it is revealed, she's like, wait, do you mean like, I think it was like sleeping pills or something? She's like, you mean those? That's what you're talking about? And then Meredith thinks she had this like smoking gun of like, well, it almost seemed like she's like, well, I'm going to reveal who are you fucking serious? Like, it was like nothing that, it falls flat.
I mean, taking prescribed medication is not pill popping.
No.
It's not. Now, if you sneak and take my sleeping pills and take a whole bunch with alcohol, that's a completely different effect. So it just goes back to Meredith picking and choosing when to have the lawyer hat on, when to only answer the question that's been asked, right? That is drilled into us. But that also is not entertaining to watch.
Not at all.
And so, do you want to be entertaining or do you want to be the lawyer? And do you want to be friends with the cast or do you want to only be friends with Lisa? Because you guys can have your own show. Paris and Nicole had their own show. It didn't have to be everybody, but like this whole dynamic is not working, even down to the color choices of the gowns. We are separate. We are in burgundy. We are.
That's a good point. Like, yeah.
Come on.
It's not cohesive. I was completely over it.
I am too. I think that when she started to go in on Whitney and she had questions for her, I didn't think it was fair because Whitney has apologized multiple times. I apologize for saying it that way. I apologize for saying it that way. I apologize. She won't hear her. But then she half apologizes to Heather for 2 seconds at a Boston
Well, that's what I mean.
Party.
Yeah.
and you're supposed to
Mm-hmm.
roll out the red carpet because you said one thing. And it's like, out of the sea of bullshit, you can't be mad at me for missing your one authentic moment. You can't.
Mm-hmm.
And she's making them
Mm-hmm.
like that. Like, that tea party was a big deal. There was a lot of stuff that came out. Like, you're weird. She just had, it's really
Mm-hmm.
weird the way she's moving. And maybe that is because she values her friendship with Heather in a really weird way. She doesn't know how to show it or something.
Maybe I totally got it when Heather was like, fuck you, we're done. After this, we're done. I understand the whole ensemble of it all. I get it, and maybe in terms of a show, but like I think what people, especially fans, and this is what I don't know what I would do if I was on a reality show with my friends, because what is very real life is if your friend no longer serves you in a positive purpose, you don't have to associate. You cut ties. Or we don't have to beg and force people to be our friends. If it doesn't suit you anymore, we don't have to. Especially if someone wants to call me a liar, that's my friend. Then I don't know what we're doing here. Bye. I think it was like Bronwyn that like talking to Meredith. You need to sit down and shut the fuck up and answer these questions the same way that we all have to. Like you can't walk off and avoid things. We all have to. That's why we're here. That's why you're getting a paycheck, and that's why like all of us that are tuning in to watch and why we have a podcast talking about it is because you signed up for this for the last 6 years. So you need to sit here and answer the questions that are being asked to you, and only to you, not everyone else. And no, like, well, before I do this, we're gonna talk about like this is what your job is, and if you can't do it, it's time to like kick rocks.
Yeah. And I would
Sorry.
not be upset if she did come back and Andy was like, "You're not running the show. You might be the stars on the season. The reunion is mine." And this kind of like
Yeah.
blatant, to,
Yeah.
to be fair, it felt like blatant disrespect that you're not going to answer the questions that I'm asking you, the questions that fans wrote in. Out
Mm-hmm.
of all the thousands of questions, we whittled it down to
That's a good
these,
point.
and you can't even respect them enough to answer them. Like,
That's a really good point. Yeah.
it's not, you know what I mean? We are invested in
Mm-hmm.
these shows. It's not our lives, but we're
That's
still
yeah.
invested.
Yeah. I actually that's well said. I totally agree with that. You opened your lives up to us. Quite literally, you have a contract, but that is the agreement of like, wait, hold on. If you are going through like a tough time, so just say that. Maybe you don't have to go into grave detail. Like I don't know what it is because it is blatant disrespect to Andy, the host, who, to your point, has all this data and questions that have been submitted. It is disrespectful to the show and to the cast and the producers and the people that do this. It's like, not only do we not find this entertaining, but she's not living up to the expectation that it's. Listen, you don't need to tell me every fucking detail of your life, but you got to be kind of honest here now. Like
Yeah.
they all are, so why aren't you? And if you can't, if for whatever reason you can't be, then try to find a way to be vulnerable because at least you give us something of like, okay, whatever that might be. But I don't even know why you're doing this anymore. I have no idea why you're
Well,
doing it.
I have two kind of reasons why she might be doing it.
Okay.
The first one might be to distract from the rest of her life. Her son is making a name for himself on his own show. Your daughter might live in Salt Lake City. We don't know. She was in the store at one time. And your husband might live in Salt Lake City. We saw him on the show. So either it's to distract from that or it's to have her own thing. But you're not selling yourself well. I can't imagine anybody watches the show and says, "Wow, I can't wait to see what else you do outside of here." This doesn't make us want to go to her DJ sets. Like, but you
and
know what?
just for the record,
Yeah.
she was in town for a DJ set, and I heard it's not good. Actually, I heard a lot that it's not good. So,
oh no. Well,
saying.
I want to go to two different places, and you get to tell me which.
Okay.
We also have Bronwyn talking about how her family, it really hurt them that she involved them so much. And so I don't know if Meredith is not involving them for that, but that doesn't make sense now your son's on reality TV. Or maybe she's afraid because remember how Lisa mentions the production team? What was that all about? Because I remember that was part of where Mary was like, no, we work with them. We trust them. Why would you say that they did that to you? Like, they all kind of got pissed off about that. But I don't I don't know where that came from.
This is not a good thing. I don't know if they mean this also in reference to, but there was, it's in past seasons ago when Jen Shaw was still on the show. They went to a cast trip. Heather woke up the next day with a black eye, and it became a whole thing of like, where, and she wouldn't say or reveal like how she got it. I think she had like a bullshit excuse, like, oh, I was drunk, or I don't remember. I can't remember. It was something very vague. And it was only till after Jen Shaw was in like prison, she was off the show, that she revealed that she got it from her. But then she ended up kind of blaming production for like certain, and it was not a good look for Heather.
What?
So that's one of those moments where I'm like, I'm a big Heather fan, but that was a big fumble on her part. But I still like her. I'm assuming that's where that was in reference to a little bit in terms of like blaming production on things. Okay, I think they might think it's an easy out when actually it's a horrible look. You look at all these other veteran shows, these people that are in your homes, camera people, all that kind of stuff, production staff, they become like family to you. They're there to like, I'm not saying there's bad producers that try to paint people in a bad light. That's have also been known to be a thing. But that is such a low blow, easy out to like shift the narrative of like blaming like an edit or production. It's just like, don't go there. Don't do that.
That's kind of crazy to wake up with a black eye and then
it was a whole talk about like maybe you should go back and like binge. It was crazy. She legitimately had, but when I say black eye, not just like it was like she couldn't even open it. It was so gross, kind of looking.
No,
And
thank you.
It took like 2 years for her to like admit to like what, like who did it, and it was apparently Jen Shaw.
And Jen has never been back on a show, so we don't know if it was her.
Yeah, and I'm okay with that. And she's not welcome on Bravo, according to Andy Cohen, which I also agree with. She is out of prison though.
Dang. This show is fascinating.
That's what I mean. That's why it is a cultural phenomenon.
Yeah, I was not expecting you to say that. Okay. So we don't know Meredith's motive, and I do think that it would have been nice if we got a little bit of humanity, a little bit of, hey, I did watch it. I understand how it came off. I did feel that way at the time, but an answer. But she would never give an answer. She would not resolve anything. I don't even think she even admitted that she had the same nail tech as Brittany. She would not admit anything. And
I think she's delusional.
But in the worst way. Yeah.
Like like times 10. Like I think she really does believe her bullshit. And I know that Mary called Lisa delusional, and I think we all can agree to some extent she definitely is. Meredith, it's like I think she does believe her own bullshit. I think she truly more diabolical than we ever thought. I don't know. But I think she does believe what's coming out of her. I really do believe that she did nothing wrong. I don't know if someone said it on an interview or something that I heard. I know we keep going to that plane ride, but whatever. Somebody said, and I'm paraphrasing, she like believes her own bullshit because in her mind, she really may believe whatever occurred wasn't that bad. And that maybe that's why she can treat this, not even like sweep it under the rug or like try to like downplay it, but she really does not believe whatever occurred was bad at all. She really believes that if she did pull her hair, she did spill wine on her, she was playing with her chair, whatever the case may be, she really believes maybe that it's not that big of a deal. I don't know. I just like, I'm over Meredith.
If you do something and you don't think it's a big deal, and 6 other people tell you it's a big deal, and 6 other people that you are supposed to trust tell you that it's a big deal. Maybe you don't care about being friends with Brittany. Who cares? She's not even a full cast member, whatever. Welcome to the show. This is your initiation. All these other people are telling you what you did was fucked up. That's the delusional part. You don't even care about that. You don't even care that we've talked about this for 7 of the 16 episodes. Like, that you don't care about.
I guess maybe she's in denial or something. Maybe it's far worse than we know. Who knows? It's just like, at this point, we got some other people on this show that are giving us a lot more to talk about. And Meredith, you're just like, you're not interesting.
Very annoying. And I think for you and I, because we talk a lot off of camera and like outside of this show, there's so much in the world in 2026 we can't control. We can control whether or not Meredith Marks is on our TV. And when you don't answer questions, it's like, well, that's like everything else that is out. So let's see
Totally.
something that we enjoy.
Yeah,
No, for
that's so
real.
true.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
the part of what makes it infuriating is if you're not going to answer questions and you don't want to be responsive and you really don't want to spend time with the other girls and you wear a suit to every event, how about no?
Mm-hmm.
So clearly, Lisa, whether or not we like her, she makes for entertaining TV. They put her on
Right.
a Food Network show, Worst Cooks in America. She hasn't been on Wife Swap, but Angie is. Like, once you see people start to get stuff on their own spot, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Bronwyn is in the ad with her dog. Brittany had her
Mm-hmm.
cabaret show. Heather has all these books. Like,
Mm-hmm.
there is a market for everything else.
It was almost like, okay, we get that we ain't gonna get anything from you, so let's. I've already written her off in my mind, and I really hope we don't have. Or maybe she has an epiphany. I don't know.
With everything you've told me about the shows, and even where Andy Cohen on his own said no, Jen Shaw is not welcome back. I think what she did at the reunion took it to a different level where he's like, you don't even respect what we're trying to do. I would not be surprised if he was like, no, thank you. She didn't even walk off like Garcelle in Beverly Hills.
Mm-hmm.
You just sat there and gave nothing and like colluded
And
with
gave
your
nothing,
friend and then brought up something extremely hurtful with this nail tech. Like, I could really see him being like, you took it to a different level.
It wasn't even enjoyable, but she tried to pull it out of her ass. I'm not saying that works, but like, it didn't hit right. It fell flat. I'm just like, I think we're good here, Meredith. I think go DJ. It looks like you have a career doing that. I don't know why, but maybe you should just sail off in the sunset and run your store that's apparently now a gallery. I don't know. I don't know. This is what she does to me. I'm like, I don't even find her enjoyable to talk about. And that's really sad because I'm like, you used to be pretty good on the show and kind of interesting. And she obviously has had like really funny moments. This is not enjoyable behavior. And it's like, I don't know if you don't want to be here or like what show you think that you're on anymore, but this ain't it. Maybe this is not the environment for you anymore.
And I think that's it. If she's not detached, then she's acting paranoid. And it's like, neither of those make for good TV.
Mm-hmm. I think she even said after they did that like montage, and he asked her like, "Oh, Mary, do you think that this would have? Did you ever think this would last season?" She's like, "I didn't think it would go past 5, and maybe that was too much or something." I think she said that.
Yeah, she did.
Maybe it was a mistake for you to come back this season. Maybe for you it was 5 seasons. I don't know.
Maybe it was. She manifested 5. They asked her back, and she's nope. You should have called it a wrap.
See what happens when you don't listen to your gut instinct.
It is. It absolutely is. So let's lower our blood pressure and stop talking about her. Bronwyn, part 3 had a lot about Bronwyn. And is it an honor to be first chair, or are you?
Yeah.
Do you know?
I mean, I guess it kind of depends on either you've been a Lisa Barlow where you've been insufferable, or you're like a Bronwyn where you persevered. This part of their unit is really like heavy for Bronwyn for 2 reasons, really, primarily for 2 reasons. And I kind of was like, damn, we're doing this with her. Her talking about how, she obviously had her mom, what is she, Mumsy? Muzzy. They obviously show her life and kind of like primarily like relationship with her mom. We were kind of hard on her mom, and I'm not regretting that. I really felt for her talking about how the show affected her mom after she watched it. And of course, learning that her dad has since passed.
Yeah.
I really felt Bronwyn in that moment. And I will say this, I try to give grace to people when deserved, typically. I felt that emotion in her because I don't know. I guess I don't know what that would feel like. And Bronwyn had said in the reunion, like, it really has affected her, like, how she's come across. I think she might have even said, and correct me if I'm wrong, she said something along the lines of, like, do I really act that way or something? I feel like she said something along those lines. So that made me feel sad, at least how it was presented. I hope that maybe that was some sort of learning opportunity for her, because I think towards, like, the end, we saw her relationships, I'm using this lightly, but it seemed like it softened a tiny bit. Like, I am curious of how Muzzy is looking at things now. I wonder if that impacted her behavior in any kind of way, or do any like growth. I am curious about that.
I was surprised by that because when they were in Greece, I know it was Mother's Day, and then we saw the episodes in January. So sometime between they filmed the reunion November, October. So sometimes between like May and October, her dad passed. So that's a lot.
A lot.
Also can't picture Muzzy watching the show.
I kind of couldn't either in a weird way. Yeah.
Well, when Bronwyn was talking about it, she said that Todd did like a deep dive on Reddit and read everything about him.
I know. That was also shocking too.
I could see him.
I believe it. Yeah.
And maybe if not even him, you know, he had a second assistant and was like, pull all the clips about me or something. But I couldn't see Muzzy watching it, or because I can't see her laughing at it. Like, is she fast forwarding through to just Bronwyn's part? You know what I mean? But the way that Bronwyn said it, it did sound like her mom was deeply impacted by it. I've softened to Bronwyn because the last episode when they're in Greece and they have that play, I felt like that was so spot on with her being so doggedly loyal and not knowing how to show it. It kind of like made me replay everything, and it was like, oh, she did that because she was wanting loyalty, or she did that because she thought it was loyalty, or she protects Todd so much because of loyalty, right?
Right.
And so you could kind of see that even with her mom, and she's like, that's still my mom. Bronwyn was really like contrite, and she was just like, you know, she was pretty crushed. And even if Muzzy didn't sit down and watch it all, maybe her daughter watched it, and her mom is like, you know, did you see yourself on here? Because you and I, we would watch the show, and we'd be like, what a bitch. Like, why do you talk to her like that? And it's not, you know, we're not calling her a bitch. Her actions were bitchy. And like, you do get exposed on the show. And I would say, I still would rather have Bronwyn have us deeply enmeshed in her whole family than Meredith not. Because at least we do have different characters. Like, we know, you know the mom's nickname, you know the husband's name. I don't remember the daughter's name off the top of my head, but it's like, I know the boyfriend lived there at one time. Like, at least I know her story.
Right.
I don't know anything about Meredith, so I would rather have that.
I agree with that, but like, none of it ever seemed performative. The conversations she had with her mom when they all went to that like plant store or whatever that was, like they made the plants, like none of it ever seems or comes across performative, fake, whatever. I can't say the same about Meredith's family. I apologize. Like, and maybe because maybe I'm biased and just so over her. I don't know her life. I'm not going to say it's an act, but I agree with you. Like, I'd rather not see any of that, and I would be so invested. Now, I would say I arguably am invested in Bronwyn's personal life with her family because it offers these different dynamics, a lot of which, at least with her mom, we did not agree with, obviously, still don't. But we are invested enough that, like, I'm asking that question, like, okay, now that she's seen it, I come from the belief, like, you know, you can teach an old dog new tricks. I have seen it with my own eyes. I'm not saying every single old dog can learn the new tricks, but I don't think it's impossible to paint with broad strokes. So it makes me wonder, I'm like, is there an evolution that she could be going through, especially, you know, unfortunately now her husband's passed. It makes me wonder, like, is there like a reinvention of some sort? Will she see life differently? You know, like, because those things are very real and happen. And maybe that's also why she was very emotional about it. So, you know, it is really sad. And I think we say this because we felt that tone from how Bronwyn told the detail. Like, you felt something that didn't feel like, whatever, like, screw her. Like, you felt like, okay, like, her mom is a human being, and that is her mom. And she cares about her mom. Clearly, she let her live with her. She helped take care of her, all this kind of stuff. So, yeah, I really felt that. And I hope that, I do hope that maybe she learned something from it. Like, okay, let me see if I can evolve my thoughts and feelings on some things, or even if it's just with Bronwyn. Maybe they're closer now. Who knows? Like, I don't know.
I could imagine their relationship will improve in whatever way, right? If that means for Bronwyn that they speak more, or her mom is more
Right.
graceful or gives her more grace. I only think that's going to happen because Bronwyn never talks shit about her mom, and she only at Brittany's bedhead party does she even say anything kind of negative about Todd. She does protect them really well.
Mm-hmm.
For better or worse, all of Muzzy's
Mm-hmm.
interactions were straight up words out of her mouth. Your
Totally.
recounting of stories, your looks at her, your judgments.
Mm-hmm.
So at least there was that. It wasn't, you know what my mom just said? It was all directly from
Mm-hmm.
Muzzy, which I think probably would make it hit harder too.
I agree.
But I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see her again because Muzzy was living with Bronwyn and Todd, and Bronwyn's daughter was
Mm-hmm.
living with Bronwyn and Todd. And since the reunion, Bronwyn told us that she is now separated from Todd. So their entire thing will look different. Like,
Mm-hmm.
complete, like Bronwyn, if you needed an excuse to get a small tiny house and your mom can't live with you, here you go. Like, you know what I mean? She really
I
gets
think.
to
Well,
create the
I
set
do.
that she wants now.
Yeah. So here's what I was thinking, and because all that was a perfect segue into obviously her announcing that they are separated. Because I could see also a possibility that they could potentially be closer, not just because her mom is going through this new chapter in her life. Her husband's now passed, Bronwyn's dad, but now Bronwyn is no longer attached to Todd. Now it seemed as if the mom was very like, okay, well, without him, you're like kind of you don't have anything, blah blah blah. But again, I like to believe that maybe that obviously can evolve too. Maybe that's even better for the relationship. Whether it's like, okay, well, mom, you're getting up there in age. When we get a nice condo here in Salt Lake, you come move in with me, and we'll be two single gals, and
Yeah.
whatever it could look like, or maybe you live close by. Like I don't know what it looks like. So I hope that maybe like it's better for their relationship with both of those elements combined. Of like, okay, this is literally two very different chapters, but they're
Yeah.
going through new chapters of their lives at the same time. And I will say, even though it was leaked beforehand, I'm still happy to say that I do feel slightly bad that he gets talked about as much as he does about women that are not involved in his relationship, especially the things that they're saying, gout dick, sucking his dick to fit, all the things that we've already mentioned in previous episodes. I don't like that because we should base and have our criticisms of Todd based solely on what we see between him and Bronwyn. I don't need Lisa Barlow chiming in. I don't want to hear what you have to say.
And that's just it.
So I am really happy for it.
You and I,
Mm-hmm.
we do talk about what people say on the show. We are not saying, oh my gosh, she looks so bad in that episode. Like that is completely subjective. That is not, we don't do that. That's not overanalyzing.
Totally.
In fact, that's really shallow. So we actually
Totally.
don't do that.
Mm-hmm. It is.
Yeah. I was surprised to hear that he researched all the statements about him and cared. I almost feel like that would have happened if he wanted to stay married. So I don't know who asked for the separation or if it matters. I was really surprised to
Didn't
hear
she
that
say he did?
Oh, I don't remember.
No, she said she did. I think she said she did. I agree. Well, I agree with that. By the way, I agree. I don't. Well, I think she said that. I think she asked, she initiated, and he did not want to. So that would. I swear, I remember that happening. Which I would say I agree with you. Like, if you're going online, going down Reddit and all that kind of stuff, looking at all the things that are said about you, that clearly would. I mean, I think that would tell me like, okay, you sound like I don't know, maybe regretful. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I am surprised. So me like picturing Todd in his like home in New York because she said that's where he's been living now. Can you imagine like in forums like on Reddit like looking up his name? I'm like I can't see him doing that, but
I can't see him being on a plane looking at pictures of women that aren't Bronwyn.
true.
Because I cannot.
True, but he is a straight guy, so that doesn't surprise me. They're all
yeah, but
kind
like
of sleazy.
I mean, you that hard up, like you can't even be like in your private car or like, you know what I mean? Like I don't
That's
see
fair.
that
Yeah. You're not
happening.
even trying to hide it. Yeah.
I had never really thought about the family members outside of the
Mm-hmm.
show. I don't see Mary's
Mm.
son
Yeah.
looking up what they say about him. You know what I mean? And so that was a
I
very
would.
interesting
Yeah.
perspective for me. I was like, oh, I just had never considered it. You know what? That's not fair. For me today, at 41 years old, I would not be
Mm-hmm.
doing anything on TV that didn't reflect who I actually was. I could definitely see
Mm-hmm. You said
myself
that
years ago.
before. Yeah.
I could see myself years ago though doing some shit and being like, "Oh, well, it was funny at the time," or like, I could, yeah. So
For me, I have kind of done things if like I don't care. I don't. It's kind of like I don't know what I don't know. So like if Bronwyn has other like she has siblings or whatever, like I unless she's talking about them and we see a glimpse, I'm kind of like I'm not googling. Okay, oh, I wonder if
right.
Bronwyn has siblings. Let me siblings. Let me check. I don't care. The only thing I have done is like if someone has made an appearance, I'm like, oh, they're kind of cute. Who's that? Is that their? And then maybe something like that. But I think it's interesting because on the flip side, if my like what a random example because I can't never imagine this, but if my mom was on a reality show and I was on it in some capacity, whether it's just making appearances or whatever, you bet your ass I'm looking at myself. I'll tell you that. I'm like, oh my, I mean, listen, I still struggle with insecurities and all that kind of stuff, so that's not a stretch for me to say. I would be definitely looking like, no, typing my mom's name, Dominic's son. I would definitely be doing any of that, but not. Which I might have just like walked in the room and sat on the couch. I might not have done said anything. I'd be like, oh my god, I'm just like, do people hate me or call me ugly or something? But
Well,
that's
see,
just
here's the strange thing about that though. I Google myself and I have like Google alerts set so you can see what, if Kyla Denanyo or my maiden name comes
oh,
up. But you still are reading it through your lens. That's where like a Reddit
true.
thread of people
Yeah,
like, oh yeah, who's that? Or even she talked a lot about when they were at the ice cream shop and she said, I don't like when you do this, I don't like when you do that. And then he literally does it when he takes the
that's
cherry off of the
true.
sundae. And people went
Right,
ham for that. And so while
I was one of
we
them.
may have criticized based off of what we saw, Muzzy didn't only see our episode. It was repeated reactions like, shit, that's what you live with every
Yeah.
day? Or like it was that kind of thing that I
Mm-hmm.
think would have caused her to think differently. And you've told me that Todd was on the season 5 reunion and he said, I'll do better. So even to come back and be like, well,
Yeah,
shit,
he
you didn't
did,
do better. In fact, it might have been worse.
and he kind of didn't. I guess some of it could be subjective, right? Of like, well, was that his version of doing? But did he think he like? Who knows what conversations happened? It definitely did not show well on whenever he was on TV. And I feel for Bronwyn because one thing we do know is she ain't crying tears because she got a hot model
So
boyfriend now.
fine.
Apparently, that I'm like, oh my
So
god,
fine.
I mean, talk about like an upgrade, and I'm like, I'm trying to say this without sounding like a huge
She is
asshole because I don't
glowing.
mean it to. Because I'm not. Bronwyn is stunning. She's very
Mm.
stunning. She does look glowing, but like again, I'm not trying to sound. I'm not a superficial person whatsoever. I could care less. But I have two sets of eyes, and it's just what a upgrade. I guess I don't know. Like wow, like you went I'm sorry, sir, and I'm talking about Todd. I'm so sorry. Tr- you are not portrayed well. I don't really like you, but I'm also not trying to be like rude and disrespectful. But sir, you had Santa Claus, and now you have like it's like wow, like like I mean, it wasn't like I thought like if anything, it would be like this hot like 45-year-old. I don't know, like, but that was still like okay. You have that. Wow.
Well, wait.
Like,
this is her rebound guy, though. So it doesn't mean that she's not going to swing back.
good for
I will say
still.
this. I think that she is very different from the beginning of the season. And remember, when you and I discussed her on the show, a lot of our talks were, he tends to be very demeaning. He tends to have this authoritarian figure. But she also condenses herself and is like, she plays the role of you saved me, hero, so I'm just the damsel in distress. She plays that as well. And I don't think she's playing that anymore. Mm-hmm. And so if her marriage no longer served her, yeah, you would upgrade because she's different now, right? She is like, maybe she's
like you feel like she, do you think she's like more confident?
She's probably like, I could pull someone like that, where she may not have felt like she could have before. You know what I mean? There's a number of reasons why.
I guess that's fair, yeah.
You know?
If he really didn't treat, and talk about Todd, if he did not treat her with the utmost respect that she deserves, then this is even better, right? Because hopefully, even if she's getting some good dick, I'm like, there's no complaints here, assuming he's a nice gentleman.
Assuming it's not gout dick.
But I'm sorry, it's just, listen, he ain't got no gout anything. Like, what, can you, okay, hold on, wait a minute, hold on. I didn't even think about this even when I saw this. So those photos, I remember, I think I even, like, DM'd you, and I said, like, look at this. What do you think Lisa Barlow at her house, you know, probably eating French fries, she sees that, like, what do you think her thoughts are? Like, fuck, what can I get her on now, or something? Like, or she could do that, or she's gonna be stereotypical, like, look at you robbing the cradle. Actually, I don't even know how old that guy is, but
all of those responses are far too nice. Lisa says, "Oh, look at her with her broken household." You know, she says some dirty shit, like, "Oh, of course,
like that." Okay, yeah.
I hope he's wiping your tears with your broken marriage. She would say something nasty as shit. You know she would.
You know what? True.
You know she would.
That's
and
true.
I hate that
I can actually see that now.
But I'm glad you brought up Lisa, because...
Do you think she was jealous at all? I say maybe.
So think of how she harps on Bronwyn. I wouldn't be surprised if she wanted Todd, because maybe she wants to know what it feels like to not have to work 18 jobs. Bronwyn has this great life with this couture closet, and all she has to do is, you know, have sex with her husband. I wouldn't be surprised if she's like, what is that like to not work 12 jobs? She tends to have, I guess, Bronwyn and Todd on this pedestal in a weird way. So I don't know if she'd be jealous.
Well, the first problem with that is we're assuming she works 12 jobs, because I'm not even convinced she has one, to be quite honest with you. 2, I can see her going, motherfucker, or something. I can see her, like, you know, we thought in terms of, like, Salt Lake City Housewives that John Barlow was the hottest one.
I can see that.
Not for me, at least.
I mean, he's tall. And now he's thin.
I actually think Angie's husband's kind of cute. Like, he's not my type, but I think he's kind of like...
I don't think I've seen him.
Cute. I don't know. I'm trying to go back in my mind, because he usually has make appearances.
Maybe at the Amy party.
He's cute. He was there. Which is where we saw him last season for sure. He's cute. He's kind of like very like kind of jacked, kind of. He's not really my type. But I can see Lisa going like, fuck. Bronwyn is a stunning woman. She's got great style. She's funny. She's collectively, I think, in terms of the cast, people love her. She's the most progressive and outspoken about like social issues. She loves gay people. She's like, you know, she's out there doing her thing. Fashion shows, whether it's Rebound or not, he's hot. Like, I can just see Lisa going, motherfucker. Like, what am I gonna get her on now? Or here's the
thing. You're such a nice guy. You're always trying to like, make her a human. Because you're always trying to like, you're like, I know she just has emotions. I know she's just a girl somewhere. And I just do not see that. Like,
Well, I would hope that you would support her and be like, you know what, girl, I'm sorry you had to get divorced. I did not like Todd, obviously, but like, damn, get it? Like, here's a prediction. It could be a good strategy, I should say, that Lisa could come in, buy Meredith, get out of here, you're fired, don't want you back. This could be a good season 7 could be a great, like, we're talking about redemption arc, we've talked about those before, but what I would love to see from her is accountability. Episode 1, season 7, episode 1, like, listen, I lost my baggage here in the form of Meredith Marks, so I am doing some self-reflection, and I said some shitty ass things last year, and I want to rebuild some of my relationships. Maybe controversial to some Bravo fans. I would love her to start and maybe really focus on Bronwyn, because I could see that more than a Heather and Lisa. Really, I don't know why at this point, but I could see a path forward way more with Bronwyn, and I don't know why that is necessarily. But I think it would be strategically a good place to start if she wanted to, like, kind of get back in the good graces of, like, the fans and, like, maybe with the cast. I feel like for some reason, if she could rally behind Bronwyn, stop attack. She can't attack Todd no more. She does not have that. I think that could be a good tactic for her. So while it's not a prediction, I would like to see that. I would say, hey, maybe this is time for you to, like, be a little nicer, and you can still be like you, but, like, I could see it. And I think that would be much smarter for her to start there and be like, you know, I said some shitty things, or how this they can be like, I didn't like Todd, clearly, by gout dick, like, but I don't know. I would like to see some of that energy.
That last piece, yes, I can see that. My gut tells me, not even my gut, I want to say I hope Bronwyn doesn't fall for that, because I don't think Bronwyn would be open to that, because she has repeatedly ignored her boundaries. So I would hope that Bronwyn would not be open to that, but also they are on TV and have to interact. So maybe that does need to be done.